So.
Well, I wish I could just have one, but it's not satisfying because you have one and then you want 100, and then you drink 100 and then you feel like shit. And like if I just drink one, like if I have one at lunch, then it's like I want to go take a nap. If
really?
I either got to keep going. If I keep going, I can go for like a good hardcore 4 or a gentleman 6, and then I'm done. But like do you
feel pulled to it?
No.
Is it like Gollum in the Ring?
No, I don't even know what that means. I just like
precious.
I just like it.
Precious.
No.
Yes.
No, I
it
like
wants us to drink. It's precious. Yes.
I don't even know what that is. I don't.
You didn't see the Lord of the Rings? You didn't see the Lord of the Rings?
I went to one of those, and it was so fucking long. And every time they would fade to black, I'd be like, "Just roll the credits, just roll the credits." And then they would open up on some big field, and it's just like, Jesus, get the fucking thing back to the guy so we can get out of here. You know what? I fucking hate all of those movies. And I fucking pay people who don't have a sense of humor about the bullshit that they watched when they were kids, like adults who talk about Star Wars. Like that isn't a fucking weak movie now when you watch it. I mean, how
it's terrible.
It's horrific. I was making fun the other night. The other night, I came home. I got free Cinemax, which is the greatest fucking channel ever. They either 24 hours a day, they're either showing the greatest movie ever or the worst fucking movie ever, and it's all compelling. I watched like 9 movies in a row. Like this fucking channel's unbelievable. So I ended up flipping up because late at night they just had some sort of softcore porn, which is ridiculous now when you have the internet. So it just was redundant. So I got off of that. So I went on to VH1. And they were playing this show Metal Mania. And I was watching all these bands and these videos that I just thought were fucking sick and they're into the devil. Dude, I was just, by the end of it, I was like, how was this better than disco? Like, why did disco get so much shit? Like, I'm not talking about like the Iron Maidens, the Metallicas, but you know what I'm talking about. That middle of the fucking ground, those people with the spiked fucking gloves and all this stupid shit and raw meat. And it was horse shit. It was fucking. I watched it. It was the dumbest shit ever. It was embarrassing that I mean, granted, I had all of that music still on my iPod. I'm not above it. But if someone were from this generation were to come back and tell me that music was awful and was stupid, I would laugh. There's no way I could defend it.
Isn't it weird how you look at if you look at music or you look at movies? That's like one of the clearest examples of like some sort of evolution or progress is going on with humans, because like the movies of the past, like so many of them they're so clunky, and the style of communicating is so artificial. It's such a shit representation of life in comparison to a real good movie.
Until the 60s, once they figured out like just acting on film, like those people just learning how to do it. So everything was gonna be not, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Like that type of acting had to go away with the Brandos and the James Deans and those guys, right. And then you had to have like there's a couple like there's movies back there like Jack Lemmon, The Apartment.
Well, The Hustler
is way ahead of its time. The Hustler.
The Hustler's an amazing movie.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah,
that type of shit.
There were some people that were
still holds
it
up
right.
though.
But the bad movies from the 60s and the 70s, try to watch like Jaws 3D.
Oh yeah, no, that's just bad. That's a bad one.
There's some bad
movies.
But
they still have movies like that. I mean, I think a lot of
for
that,
sure to this day.
That Transformer shit, even though I didn't see it.
But if you see,
I never vibe with sci-fi people, like sci-fi listeners. I always get trashed by them because I just don't get it. Unless
you don't get sci-fi at all.
No, if it's like Aliens, like it has to be high quality. Like Aliens is like the Goodfellas of that I like on like top shelf sci-fi. I'm going to be into Blade Runner, Aliens, and that type of shit. But if I'm just going to go watch, we're in Hoth. I don't know what the fuck that's from. What is Hoth? That's a Star Wars thing? I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, like one of those fucking things with the action figures and shit. It's just.
Did you like Transformers growing up?
I didn't like Chewbacca. I didn't get Chewbacca. It's like, dude, you're a
fucking awesome guy to have around. He's huge.
Yeah,
Can you imagine you could party with Bigfoot? I would totally party with Bigfoot.
Yeah, but he should be ripping somebody's arms off. He's shooting a gun like he's a badass. He's
limited. He knows how to shoot guns too. He'll rip your fucking arms off, but he can also shoot you from a distance. bitch.
He's limited.
Oh, I like Chewbacca.
Star Wars.
I would totally hang out with him.
You know what
I
I
think he'd be
didn't,
cool
you know what I
as
didn't
fuck.
like about him? He was a follower.
Well,
He started hanging
He's a
out
little
with all the
beta.
humans. Next thing you know, he's sitting upright in chairs.
Right.
Sipping little juicy juices, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if he could understand
I
us.
didn't like
Could they understand him? They could speak that? Could Han Solo speak?
Yeah, I think it was a language, but we just didn't understand it. So
He
all
said
that
the
was
same
probably
fucking
easy
thing
shit.
every time.
Not that many Wookiees. You know? It's like Chewbacca and like... There's no other famous Wookiees.
No, he was like the dodo bird of...
Isn't that weird?
We're going to be destroyed on Twitter because our Star Wars knowledge sucks, and you know we're going to get this shit forever.
Dude, there's a fucking million Wookiees! There is a nation of Wookiees! There is a federation of Wookiees! You know not what you're talking about!
Yeah, but there's nothing better than just having a fucking 10% knowledge of those movies and just criticizing them because it's just driving some kid nuts.
Oh my God!
Breastfeeding in public. Dear,
yes.
dear Billy Crimson Tits, let me see this.
Crimson
This is why I
Tits?
don't do Ask Me Anything, because this is all it's going to be.
There are so many. Hey, Billy, like when you were on The Simpsons, someone wrote, "Oh, Billy Yellow Nips is going to be
Yep.
on."
Yep. Let me say, I like it. I think it's funny. Let me say congrats on the Pats having early season success. I am from the Bay Area, and we are hoping the Giants get into the playoffs again to win their fourth even-yeared World Series in a row. The Giants, okay, I see the baseball. Well, this is an old one. They're knocked out of the playoffs. Recently, I was traveling through Colombia with my girlfriend. We were in the airport when we randomly saw a woman breastfeeding her baby just out in the open in one of the terminal waiting areas. What was weird is as she was doing it, she was looking around, making eye contact with everyone who was walking by, the way a dog looks around a park while it unloads a dump. My initial reaction was saying to my girlfriend, "Oh man, that's gross. She is breastfeeding." Apparently this opened the floodgates of feminism. My girlfriend responded, "Why is that gross? That's hypocritical. You men love to see boobs, but when it's for nature's purpose, you complain." I then responded, "Well, the ass purpose is to shit, and men are turned on by a nice ass. Are women now going to start taking dumps publicly since that is the butt's primary purpose?" That's a great fucking point.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
It's not the same at all.
What are you talking about?
Shitting in public cannot be compared to breastfeeding in public. They are not the same thing at all. That's what's called a false equivalency.
I don't know. It's both. You're excreting something from your body, and people don't want to look at it. She responded that there is an obvious difference.
Yeah.
Since then, my girlfriend has been sending me all these pro-public breastfeeding videos of moms defending the
now
action.
you did it.
I find it amusing how women all defend it and encourage it, but they know how creepy it is, so most of them won't actually publicly breastfeed with their own kids. I explained to my girlfriend that it isn't the rack sighting that annoys us, obviously, since most of us guys enjoy a nice set. It's more just the public nature of witnessing a baby drink its dinner off its mother's udders. Yeah. He goes, I felt like a chump because I was having trouble explaining why it's not okay to publicly breastfeed. No, it's okay to do it, but like you have the right to look at it and be grossed out. Could use some ammo in this argument, and I'm interested in hearing my favorite comedian rant about this subject. I have a feeling
you just can't have a difference of opinion.
Hey, can you be an adult? Can you be an adult and let me finish reading this?
I don't understand why he's got to put it like he needs ammo in this thing. Like you just fucking disagree. It's fine.
Are you done?
Can I have some ammo so I can slap my girlfriend upside the head with some facts, man? Some male facts.
As opposed to what? Female facts?
Yeah, we're the ones doing it.
Hey.
So, and let me just, I'm just going to
Can I just finish the fucking thing?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to say right now, okay? just because you have found that there are most women who wouldn't just whip it out and breastfeed in public, and it's the same. A lot of women I know wouldn't feel comfortable doing. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. I would want to cover myself up. But if a woman is not covered up, I support her right in doing that. So just because we wouldn't do it ourselves personally doesn't mean that we're not going to want it for other people. Shit happens. That kid's hungry. You don't always have your scarf or your cover up or whatever. And this kid is screaming and crying and you're stressed out. Here, put a tit in its mouth and so it'll be quiet and be fed and move on. It's not that big of a deal. You can avert your eyes and keep it moving. What is the problem?
No, I'm just saying it's weird to look at.
It is a little off-putting to be like, oh shit, she's breastfeeding. But like, move on, get over it. It's literally a second of your life.
Well, that's listen. That's what he did.
He doesn't need ammo. So then why is he writing you?
Hey, take your voice down, Nia. Take your voice down. Don't act like me.
Ammo in order to come back to his girlfriend with, these pearls of wisdom.
Because he's young and he thinks he's actually going to change your fucking mind. Like, because he should have just said, hey, fair enough. Agree to disagree. Look, all he did was he fucking looked at it and he had his natural fucking reaction, which of course feminists are going to say, no man, that's not the natural reaction. That was put into you by the fucking males that run society and boo and all that fucking shit. Like, there's shit that guys do in public, I am sure, that is totally fucking legal, that is disgusting.
Like when you're adjusting your balls?
Yeah.
Do men even realize when they're doing it? Like sometimes they're just having a conversation with you and they just like tug on their balls.
Some men know more than others, some don't. Some, more than others. But like, here's my thing. If they're going to sit there and talk about man-spreading like the way we sit on trains, but you can fucking whip your titty out and we're supposed to be like, hey, blah, blah, we can't have a comment on that. You guys are just so fucking, and when I say you guys, I mean feminists. Like, you guys are just so fucking like looking at shit just one fucking way that it's I don't know, like it gets, you're doing that classic fucking thing where it starts off, it's a good cause, and then by the end of it, you come out the other side. You're not 100% what the fuck you were fighting, but you have a lot of the same elements of shouting people down, not wanting to hear the rest of the fucking guy's stuff. You want to be listened to, but this guy here is just being honest to how he feels. And it makes you feel a certain type of way, however the fuck you say it, and then you fucking shout it down. And
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Fair enough.
There you go.
And you're right. I did shout it down, and I did like cut it off because I was annoyed by it. But I think what it is that there is just this feeling of such like, I don't know. I feel like the reaction is disproportionate to what they are reacting to. I feel like a child, being fed from its mother, which is a very natural thing, and the reaction that some men have to it is so disproportionate. It's like, it's ridiculous.
What is the reaction?
To the point, the reaction is that he's comparing it to shitting in public. That to me is disproportionate to a child feeding off its mother. Really? You think it's like shitting in public?
I thought
really?
It was, no, he doesn't think that was a clever fucking comeback to what she said.
It's not that clever.
It's fucking hilarious.
It's dumb.
That just means you don't have a good comeback for. Come on, you guys. Well, hey, you know what? I'll tell you, nothing like a fucking feminist to come along and suck the laughter out of the room.
He was the one asking for ammo about how to deal with this fact that listen, his girlfriend probably when she
Jesus Christ, we did another hour since I turned this fucking thing on. This is like a fucking 2-hour podcast. This is like the longest one ever.
Oh no, that's not good. That's too long, right? People don't want it to be that long.
Yeah, it's probably too long. Anyways, Nia, at the end of the day, okay, people have a right to fucking react.
They certainly do.
They do. Like, they look at something, they're like, ugh, okay? The same fucking, like, you're not allowed, with all of that type of shit that falls on the other side of the fence, you're not allowed to have your natural reaction to it. It's automatically considered that there's something fucking wrong with you and something like that. Dude, there's a lot of fucking, like, here's another thing too. Like, there's also teenage kids walking around and all of that type of shit, and you're whipping your fucking titty out. You can't walk around topless. It's
Right.
considered indecent exposure
Right.
in this fucking country.
Right.
Okay? There's kids walking around, blah, 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 blah. You're pulling out a fucking titty, and then you take a little mini-me of you and you stick it on the end of it.
But
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
not-
there's something like very alien about it.
But I'm not
For guys,
taking-
it's just weird.
I know, but the thing is,
And
I'm
we have a
not-
right to feel that way. I'm not saying we're right in
But
what we're
nobody
thinking.
says shit on Bourbon Street during Mardi Gras, and that's not as natural as it is to feed a child. Not to me.
What do you mean nobody says shit?
Nobody says shit on Bourbon Street and Mardi Gras when girls are flashing their tits for some like 2-cent plastic beads made in China. Then it's all good. Then it's like shots for everybody.
No, but that's
someone-
what- it's like-
someone's feeding their
Yeah,
child
but that's not
at the
legal.
goddamn airport.
It's not legal.
But you don't see men being like, "Can you believe the way she just like they're into it?" But a woman is feeding her child at the airport, and all of a sudden it's like shitting in public.
No, because all of a
That
sudden,
is
because
disproportionate.
I can't even fucking give. I got such a great example, but I can't fucking say it.
Why not?
Yeah, you're looking at the breast, and when they're just shaking their tits or whatever, it's like, yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, there's a baby eating off of it. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? To people who don't have babies, it's weird. It freaks you out. Like, oh yeah, that's right. They also do that. And it's also kind of fucking weird. You're just sitting there eating a
is that my
sandwich,
problem?
and then you look down the thing. I know, Nia. I know. The whole fucking world needs to just be like, oh, okay, fuck all our feelings. Like that's how this feminist shit is going, where it's just your guy's side is 100% right. The way you see shit is 100% right. And a lot of times, most of the shit you're bitching about, guys had wrong, and I agree with it. But this whole fucking thing that men cannot have fucking opinions. You guys can tell us how to sit down on a fucking subway, but we can't have a fucking reaction to. Look, I don't give a fuck if a woman breastfeeds. I don't. But like when I see some guy who has a reaction to it, and then he gets yelled at like he wants women not to be able to vote anymore, I just think it's a bit of a fucking overreaction.
I just think that it's interesting that there are certain men who are more comfortable with seeing breasts sexualized than they are for what they are.
Stop saying
intended for.
sexualized like they're being exploited.
They are more accepting of seeing a woman's breast being used in a sexual manner than they are for like the purpose of what breasts are for, which is like basically to feed children.
That's not all they're
because
for.
Because otherwise they're
That's
just
not all
like
they're for.
Fat, like the fat deposit.
No, that's not all they're for.
What do you mean that's not all they're for?
It's for the survival of mankind in that nice Iraq attracted a fucking male, and he comes over and he bangs you, and then when you guys die, there's still other people. There's also that.
So, in other words, for like procreation.
Listen, there's no way to win this fucking argument because women want to be attractive. You want attention, but you want it when you want it how you want it, and guys have to know exactly when that is and when it isn't. And if they don't fucking guess right, it's like the end of a Tom Cruise movie when he's trying to clip which fucking wire one's gonna blow it up, the other isn't. And if you don't 100% know when that fucking thing is, then you are like I don't know what. You're the worst fucking person on the planet.
So what are you saying? Just shut up and take it, however you get it?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Why do you have to go to that level of extreme?
But and your Tom Cruise analogy, like the red wire or the blue wire, is not extreme?
No, I'm saying it's just like no matter what the fuck we do, we're wrong. It's like you want to fucking put on a fucking push-up bra and have your tits in everybody's fucking face. So, ladies, we're not paying for drinks tonight, right? Your fucking little skirt barely covering your fucking hoo-ha, okay? And then, all of a sudden, in a blink of a fucking eye, is what the fuck are you looking at? I'm talking about that shit. The fuck are you looking at? I'm talking about that shit, and you know that shit. You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but I don't know what that has to do with breastfeeding and any of that kind of stuff. Because that's not what we're talking about.
Well, you let it into the whole thing, like, you look at like sexualized breasts, where it always comes steering around to somehow
that
men
is more acceptable than a child being fed off of like the breast, and I don't understand why that is. Why that's more comfortable?
Because you're not a man.
To be like,
because you're not a man.
Well, then fine, maybe that's what it is. But like, that's something that I feel like people need to get over. I would not breastfeed in public without being covered, but if a woman needs to do it, I get it. and it shouldn't.
I think people can
offend
just
anybody.
think what they think. I think people can just think what they think.
I think people
I don't feel that
maybe
the
need
way
to
I look at
work on
shit.
the way that they think and progress a little bit. That's how we get to find a little bit more understanding between the sexes, so we don't have the
Yeah,
same
but
goddamn
you know how that
argument
works, though?
every year. It's
But
like the
you know
same
how that
fucking
works?
argument. Like we're not getting anywhere. I don't understand.
All right, but you know how that works? That progression thing works? The only way there's progression in it is if men see the world the way women want them to see the world. That is the so-called progression between the sexes right now. That's what's fucking annoying, because all of my shit is just considered ignorant and not valid, and I'm a caveman. And all of your shit is applause break talk show shit. 100%. And women can literally do exactly to men what the fuck they don't want done to them in different ways. And it's just, and it always, if a guy gets completely fucked over by a woman, what do they say? Well, he picked her, shouldn't have married her. You know what I mean? You guys aren't necessarily held accountable for your actions when you pick a bad dude. If you pick a bad guy and he's a fucking piece of shit, then it's, not only not your fault, it's the guy's fault, and it's all men's. Then all men have to sit down and listen to a fucking lecture or read a sign on a fucking subway like we're all walking around dragging women down the street by the fucking hair. But there's no signs on the subway or anywhere else about the fucked up behavior that a lot of women display with men.
Okay.
So
that I can accept that.
okay, so that's all I'm
can
saying.
accept
So this
that.
is another fucking thing where it's like your guy's reaction literally to how men sit on the fucking subway is 100% validated. I can't be like, listen, I got balls. I don't want to smash them between my thighs. Fucking get over it. I don't have that option.
balls.
You can be like, well, fuck you. I got to breastfeed my kid. Get over it. The way you look at it is fucked up. But our whole shit is we have to be like, oh, really? Is this issue 9,863 of this fucking month that bothers you? Like you guys are these faultless fucking human beings. Like I said in here, most of that feminist shit, I fucking agree with it. But like, it's just every fucking day now. Every day now, there's some new fucking thing. It's a fucking lecture. It's seeped into the comedy clubs. Everything is just so fucking precious now. It's stupid.
Well, I know political correctness is like across the board is like can be.
I'm going to have to edit out
certainly,
like 9 hours of this shit.
The enemy of like creativity and stuff like that. I definitely agree with that.
It's childish.
But I just feel like when it comes,
Yeah,
There's certain
political
issues
correctness
like
is yet another thing. Its heart was in the right place, but it solves absolutely nothing.
Right. No, I understand that. But
All you did was you gave truly horrible people a roadmap of words where they can navigate from one side of the river to the other and still have their fucking job. But what's in their heart is still in their fucking heart. But they can say Native American, African American, whatever the fuck you're supposed to say. Post person, milk person.
It's just fucking annoying to be like, hey, give me some ammo so I can tell my girlfriend why women shouldn't breastfeed in public. Like, that just sounds like some ignorant shit to me.
It sounds to me like he's losing the argument, and she's probably affecting the mood of the fucking... He's too dumb to just let it go because he's young. That's what he's doing. And I imagine right now that she's probably using sex, the lack of sex or whatever, to now punish him. And now he's walking around like a fucking little puppy that got slapped on the snout with a fucking newspaper. Like a lot of guys in relationships.
There are some people that are just modest about that kind of stuff. I had a friend over not too long ago, and she brought her 6-month-old with her, and she had to breastfeed him. And when he was off the thing, when he would drink some and then he'd be sort of like looking around, she was like covering her boob, and it was just her and I in there. And there was a part of me that wanted to be like, you don't have to like cover your breasts in front of me, but that was a natural reaction.
I'm not arguing his thing. I don't give a shit if women breastfeed in public.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I'm just saying that there are women who are, and I'm sure the reason why she was looking around like, a dog taking a shit is because she's thinking, oh God, who's going to judge me? Who's going to judge me? When she should, in an ideal, perfect world, just be there with her baby,
what if she gets
bonding,
off on it?
feeding, and then just
Why is she a Satanist? See how you just said that? Oh my God, he's going to judge me. She lives
No, because she was saying he was saying that she was looking around
Yeah,
like
but she
a
lives
dog
in
taking a
Colombia.
dump.
She lives in Colombia. Who knows what the culture is down there, what the opinion is? I don't know shit about Colombia, do you?
No.
Yeah, would you watch Narcos and all of a sudden you know what these fucking people are thinking?
No,
I would never try to speak for Colombians. I have no fucking idea what they think. It just might not be that. Might be totally fucking normal, and she was just people watching, or she might have been a freak and she was trying to see if anybody, she's a little exhibitionist. Who knows what the fuck she was thinking?
She was probably like, oh, Jesus Christ, for people looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm breastfeeding without a cover. She's probably really like having some sort of anxiety about it, I bet.
It's probably socially acceptable. That's what I would guess. So she's just fucking looking around going, oh, that guy, yeah.
Right, she's just looking around like normal.
When's my flight?
All right, dilemma. All right, Bill, would you rather have, drum roll, he says, a daughter who's a hoe or a gay son who's also a hoe?
What the fuck is this fucking homophobic, sexist ass, ridiculous question? A daughter who's a hoe or a gay son who's a hoe? This question is so offensive on so many levels. Like, I can't even. I won't even. So that's all you.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, Nia. People have to be allowed to be homophobic.
Why?
Because that's how you get it out of you. That's like saying, you shouldn't be... I love you're not into fat shaming, but this guy can't fucking...
Asshole shaming? I'm all for it.
No, I'm not saying that. No, this is the problem. This is the fucking problem.
What is the problem?
The problem is you're already enlightened.
Yeah.
Okay? And somebody else isn't enlightened. And the way to get them there is not to shit all over them. You got to extend a fucking olive branch. Oh,
okay.
God, here comes more sarcasm.
I get it.
Jesus.
I have to be tolerant for, the ignorant assholes. Right, because they're the ones that are misunderstood. They're the ones that need an extra helping hand in this world because the world is so hard for them. That's right. Because everyone else is so PC.
This is
and
why
so
nothing
correct,
gets solved.
And the people who are unenlightened,
right here.
they just get left behind. They just get left behind. Oh, these poor ignorant assholes. They don't. Let's all help lift them up. Not the people who are truly suffering from what that ignorant asshole has done.
All right. Listen. None of that got that guy any closer to nothing. First of all, he might just be...
You coddling him doesn't help either.
I'm not coddling the guy.
Yeah, you are. You coddle a lot of ignorant assholes in the name of comedy, and I'm sick of it.
Jesus Christ. Look.
You do.
All right. Well, let me ask you this. Somebody says something homophobic on TV, and then they get fired from a show for saying something homophobic.
And you immediately side with them. Why is that?
I don't side with them.
Yeah, you do. You take you go with the sympathy angle rather than the people who are actually offended by it. You're like, well, wait a minute now. Let's figure out why
That's
this
not
person
what I'm
is
saying.
saying this.
You don't even listen to what I'm saying. You're so on your fucking soapbox of how goddamn right you are that you're immediately assuming that I'm advocating homophobia. I'm not.
What are you advocating?
I'm advocating that when somebody's fucking homophobic, to just go in and then take their job from them, how does that help that person with their homophobia? Do you think they then go home and go oh, now I get it? They don't. They become worse. So if you want to solve the fucking problem, and I believe that when they do that, it isn't as much about stopping whatever the thing is, a sexist comment, homophobic, anything. What it is it showing the power that your group has. You shut the fuck up or we're firing you. So what you do is you create all of that ignorance to go underground.
You're not telling them to shut the fuck up. What you're telling them is that it's
Let me
not
finish.
okay
Can I finish my point? Can I please finish my point?
No, you can't. What you're telling them is that they
adult.
don't have a right to just have a platform and spew that kind of intolerance. That's what you're telling them.
I'm not saying that you don't say
shut
anything.
Shut the fuck up. You don't say anything ever about. No, it's not okay when you have.
Can
a
I finish my fucking point for the love of Christ? Okay? What I'm saying is you're not giving them a platform. I'm not saying that they don't get reprimanded or anything like that. But to take their fucking job, what you've done is you've taken a person whose ignorance was here, and now you're going to add way more to that, and you're going to stir up all these other fucking people. I'm telling the way I feel to get rid of all of that shit is you got to let people say the stuff. And then you have to sit down them rationally, and you can't come at, hey, you ignorant fucking sexist cunt fuck, maybe if you were enlightened, like then your enlightened point comes after all of that shit. They don't hear it at that point. You fire somebody, they're not gonna become less sexist or anything like that. All you've done is you took away their ability to earn a fucking living. That's all you did. And they're going to become even more resentful, and they're going to have fucking kids, and what are they going to pass it on to? I'm not saying that you can sit down with these people and actually rationalize them to a different place, okay? But some of them you can. But if you fire all of them and you scold all of them and all of that shit, and as I've said in my act a zillion fucking times, if everybody's conversations were recorded, would anybody have a job on Monday? I'm fucking sick of everybody jumping on a soapbox or all gathering around to watch somebody take a fucking beatdown and completely ignoring all of your own fucking faults. I just don't think that the crucify 'em angle to all of this shit is going to help anybody. Now there's definitely situations where, like, take like the Clippers owner. Okay, now what that guy is doing is like he's affecting like the entire NBA. He's infecting the entire fucking product. So you have to get rid of that guy. Okay? He's one of the owners of the league. But I think like just a guy on ESPN, okay, if he makes an ignorant comment, is a great opportunity to sit down with that guy and then watch the guy hopefully, honestly, go through some sort of a journey. You could turn that into a fucking show. You could actually have a guy, rather than come out and do the usual horse shit, what I said was ignorant and blah, blah. I mean, I could fucking wing an apology for every fucking offensive thing at this point. I've seen every fucking apology. You're just going out there giving lip service because you're trying to get your fucking money back. You know what I mean? But to actually sit down and talk to somebody who actually thinks like being gay is to maybe try to get through. You could maybe just get 10% of the people onto this side. Rather than pushing them all, they're pushing their face in the mud. Hey, you're a bad fucking person. Fuck your job. Fuck all of this. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be disciplined, but this whole thing that when somebody does something like that, this person might have just wrote it and just thought, oh, I thought this was funny, and they didn't understand. I remember a few years ago.
I'm supposed to go in there and like take their hand into my hand and sit down and be like, okay, now listen, like they're my child. Now I know you thought this was funny, but this is why it's offensive. I'm supposed to do that now?
Because what you're doing is still condescending. Now you're treating them like a child. Now, this is what you did.
So what are you proposing?
Sitting down and talking to people. Actually having like that shit that Mark Cuban got in trouble for was fucking horse shit. The guy was being honest.
What are you talking about?
He got in trouble for being honest, and he had to apologize for being honest. He was talking about the Clippers owner. And what he started doing was he started talking about his own issues, which I thought was a really courageous thing to do, where he was saying, like, look, the world that we live in. He goes, when I walk down the street, if I'm walking down the street at night and I see a black guy with his hoodie up, I'm crossing the street. If I then see a white guy with a shaved head and a bunch of tattoos on his neck and blah, blah, I'm crossing the street again. Where he fucked up was he said the hoodie thing, which made everybody think Trayvon. Yeah. But what he was saying was the beginning of this unbelievable fucking conversation that never happens in the media. It all is the person says the fucking thing, then they get in trouble, they lose their fucking job, and then they disappear. And then that's it. And everybody all you learn is, oh, don't say that on television. Like this whole elimination of words. Like if we eliminate the word, like, but people don't think, like, you're not going to think shit? Oh, I would think that's racial slur, but now that I can't say it, I don't think those thoughts. It's fucking, I don't know if it's childish or like moronic. I understand it where people don't want to see that or hear it on television, but you're not helping the problem.
Well,
what you're actually doing,
like checks and balances system when this happens.
Absolutely, but I think what we're doing doesn't fucking work. Go on the internet, Nia, and look at the level of this type of shit out there. It's fucking off the charts.
Yeah, I know.
All right? So what you're doing when you eliminate these words and you have all this fucking fire the person and all that, if you have half a fucking brain, you just learn, okay, don't say this, don't say that, don't say that. And then what you can basically do is you can safely get across the minefield without blowing yourself up now, while you still think all that ignorant shit, while you still won't hire this person, while you still won't associate with this person, while you still feel this way. while you're still standing your ground. You can get through all of that entire fucking maze because through this simple game of these are the words you don't fucking say, these are the words you can say, all of that horseshit, it doesn't change anything that's in your heart. That's all cerebral. These are good words, these are bad words, and you can still have all of that awful shit in your heart. And not to mention, everybody has fucked up, everybody has fucking issues. Everybody has issues. They do.
You make a lot of good
people
points,
who say
Burr.
I don't.
You make a lot of good
those
points.
people who say I don't see color are fucking.
I hate when people
full
say
of shit.
that. I hate when people.
Yeah.
Say
What
that.
are you, Nia? You Asian? I can't tell.
Yeah,
I don't see color.
It's ridiculous when people say that. No, I agree with that.
No, and then people also make assumption. They go, "Oh, your wife is African American. You can't be racist. You can't have any racist thoughts." It's also bullshit.
Yeah.
It's also bullshit. I at night when I'm at night, I used to do a bit in my act that everybody at night is fucking racist. Because you're scared and you're trying to get to your fucking car. So whatever you see, you think the worst of.
Can I also just
Which
say
goes
that
back
I
to
think
that Mark Cuban point when he's talking about walking
I was just about to bring
at
that
night.
up because I think. Can I also just say that I think it's hilarious that anyone would think that Mark Cuban walks down the street anywhere if he's not being like chauffeured in a Maybach or like flying in a private plane. Like Mark Cuban, when's the last time you walked down the street and were scared?
No, he's a cool
anywhere?
guy. He's a cool guy. He's come out to a couple comedy shows. He just walks in the back, hangs in the back. Come on, you know him. You've seen him on TV.
I have seen. I've seen him.
Wears
in
a T-shirt.
in a club in Vegas.
He's got the bed head.
I've seen Mark Cuban.
You saw him in a club in Vegas?
Yep.
Was that the time I was there?
Nope.
The fuck did you go to Vegas with Mark Cuban?
I didn't go to Vegas. With
Did he
Mark
fly you
Cuban.
in?
No.
Coach?
No.
First class. If you flew in first class, I'm gonna fucking have to.
If
What are you
Mark
doing?
Cuban
I have her
fly me
trained.
Anywhere, like I'm in the plane. All right. I'm not. Anyway, no, it's not. That's not the point.
All right. Can I answer this dilemma?
Mark Cuban is not the point. All right. Yeah. What's the dilemma? Oh, are you actually going to like go back and answer this question? A daughter who's a hoe or a gay son who's a hoe?
Yeah, I'll answer this question.
Sexist, homophobic question.
Well, but
After all that.
Well, but what he's getting out there
What is he getting out there? I like how
this-
you're somehow able to see like the nuance and like the lesson that we're supposed to learn from this ridiculous.
Well, if you get off your fucking high horse, what he's getting out there is the amount of people that say they're not homophobic but wouldn't want to have a gay son.
Is that
Is
that what's
yeah.
happening?
He's comparing having a daughter who's a whore to having a gay son. Like that's the same thing. And then he's also a whore. You know? So it's like, to me, this is like, the thing I can't get mad at this is the honesty. What's the matter? What are you pointing at?
I hear something coming out from here. Yeah.
How long has that been going on?
I don't know.
Ah, fuck.
Why isn't there just like a daughter who's a hoe or a son who's a whore?
Because if
is
a
that
guy
the point you're making?
No, because if a guy is a whore, he's considered like a stud.
Right. So he doesn't even enter the equation.
Which is right, by the way.
This is why.
Which is right, by the way.
Which is right. What?
First of all, hold the mic up to you.
Which is right.
First of all, hold the mic up to you.
Which is right. What?
If your son is going out there crushing it, he's a stud.
And if your daughter is going out there crushing it,
yeah, she's a
she's
whore.
also a stud.
No, she's not.
No, she is.
No, she isn't.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This question is so fucking offensive. It's so offensive.
Can I tell you
a
why?
A daughter who's a hoe or a gay son who's also a hoe. Like, fuck you.
Well, what if he's like 20, 19? He's a kid.
I don't care.
Oh,
I would say the exact same thing if I had my 19 or 20-year-old son. I'll be like, fuck
all
you.
right, with
you don't
your
talk
fucking
like that.
stuff. Listen to me. I'll tell you why. The son crushing it. This is an old bit of mine, and I'm going to do it for you here on the podcast, because it takes skill as a guy to get laid.
Here it is. Here it is. You just exist as a woman, and you can get laid. Is that what it is? And so men should be applauded for their ability to stick it in a girl. Congratulations, men of the world. You got laid.
You know what this is, people? You know what this is?
Hooray for you.
You know what
Gold
this
star
is?
for men, because you're able to like somehow convince a woman to have sex with
God.
you. Wow, you're a real fucking Don Juan over there.
This is it. Now just imagine just how hard it is for me to talk to you, to even get a word in on this podcast. Now imagine I'm trying to fuck you. That's what it is. And I remember a long time ago when I was talking to you, I said, okay, let's switch let's turn the tables. You were talking about the dumb shit that guys say to you in a bar. And I said, all right, let's turn the tables. Let's say I have control of my fucking sexuality, right? Not sexuality, my sexual. I don't know who I like. Some days.
You do have control over your sexuality.
Yes,
you
I
own
do.
It, honey.
Thank you. Snap to the north and to the south. 12 and sticks, honey.
Oh no.
No. What if like? What was the scenario? I said if I had control of my sex drive and you didn't.
You told me to.
And I said for you to come in and start hitting on me, and you know what? You were fucking awful.
I was awful.
You were awful. And then, the greatest line ever was I just sat there going like, yeah, whatever. And I was just doing all that type. And you go, you're making this difficult on purpose. And I said, yeah, welcome to my world. And that's what it was.
Ooh, so hard to be a guy.
I'm not saying it's hard to be a guy. I'm saying in that situation. First of all, that's the entire
Took you
thing.
a minute.
That's what all feminism is based in. It's difficult to be a woman, and your fucking equation, the feminist equation is basic. It's like lying in a bed. It's easier for a guy to lie on a mattress.
You know nothing about feminism. You know nothing. So for you to sit here and try to act like you know what feminism is and what it means, you need to just stop.
All right, then I'll be more general.
Know.
Women complaining. It's harder for a woman to lose weight. It's harder for us to sit in a chair. It's harder for us.
You don't need to speak about things that you don't know anything about. But I realize that hasn't stopped you before.
Yeah, you've been interrupting me for a fucking half an hour going on your goddamn...
on the podcast. So what do you want from me? You want me to just sit here and be like, uh-huh,
Oh, I thought you were going to be an adult.
I thought I was being an adult. I thought we were having an adult conversation.
You weren't being an adult. You were fucking talking over me. I'm the blowhard.
Welcome to my world.
You Oh, touche.
This is why it works between us. No.
Shut up. You know something? I'm so pissed I made you those cups. I should have made those things, right? Brought them in here. Look, I didn't. Oh, that's so sweet. Just mushed them right in your face. How would you like that, Nia?
Why are you recalling like an old bit of yours?
I'm not. Is that an old bit?
Yes, it is.
What bit was that one?
It's kind of a play on the punching the muffins bit.
Those are muffins. This is a totally different bit. I feel like comedians like bitching over a joke. Mine's different. Mine are cupcakes.
Right. Okay.
Are you actually going to finish that Gatorade? Are you going to leave one swallow in it and stick it in the refrigerator? Fucking weirdo. You have like fucking 15 things in the refrigerator that'll have one bite or one sip left.
I know. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
Why don't you go stick another miso soup in there? Till the fucking tapioca, whatever the fuck, your tofu turns green.
I know. I don't know why I don't just finish it.
Hey, you don't. You know what? You finish the cheese. Anytime I fucking get those nice fucking slices of cheese to my salami sandwich, I maybe get one sandwich with cheese on it. And then I come back and I'm like, where the fuck is all the cheese?
Yeah.
And then you put on your, I did something wrong, so I'm going to make a cute face now.
I guess you know.
I told you can't have cheese in the house with me.
All right, can we answer this question, Nia? Nia, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a daughter who's a hoe or a gay son who's also a hoe?
I would rather not have a child that would even ask questions like this.
That's not an option. It's either or.
Nope. Not answering.
Oh, you're taking your ball and you're going home?
That's right. Why don't you answer it then? I know what you're going to say.
I'd rather have a gay son who's a
I
hoe.
knew it. Because at least he's a guy getting some.
He's
and
out
you're
there
like, yeah,
crushing
good
it.
for you.
He's out there crushing it.
Moron.
Why?
Both you and this person asked this question.
What are you talking about? Having a gay son would be great. First of all, he could teach you how to keep your abs well into your 50s. As long as he's out there practicing safe sex, right? I'm assuming that he's a top.
Oh, because your gay son.
If I have a gay son, he's going to be a top.
Have a son, and if he's gay, you want him to be a top. But he's a top.
He's a top.
So it's a different.
So he's still crushing it.
Right. Ridiculous. This is like in True Detective when Woody Harrelson's character, when his like chickens come home to roost, so to speak, and his daughter is caught with the two guys in the car, and he starts freaking out at her and saying like, "What's it like being the captain of the varsity slut team or whatever?" And he's out there whoring around like constantly. This is like the exact same scenario.
How?
Where he feels like he's entitled to do all this shit, to fuck all the women that he wants to and can. And yet, when his daughter is doing the same thing, he's freaking out at her and she's getting, like, grounded.
There's no skill involved.
You are such
There is no skill involved.
It has nothing to do with skill, okay?
It is. You don't have to talk. You don't have to.
Such a man that you
don't have to convince a guy to fuck you.
Like it's a sport. Like
what do you have to do? What do you have to do? What do you have to do?
Oh my!
Show a little leg.
Yeah.
I come in with my red chest here. You think I'm beating him off me? I'm not. I got to put on my gloves. I got to put on my big boy pants and come up with an opening line.
You're a performer who's out on stage. Don't try to act like it's so hard for you to get laid, okay? Don't perpetrate this myth that it's so difficult for you.
You're actually perpetrating a myth. For all of you people, aspiring comedians or entertainers, if you want the easy pussy, Eddie Murphy did it a long time ago. All you do have to do is sing.
Comedians get laid left and right. They get laid left and right, no matter how ridiculous, douchebag, and dirtbag they are.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though.
Laid left and
here's
right.
the thing,
comedy groupies are lining up at the
comedy
ticket
groupies.
booth. There are comedy groupies. There are comedy groupies. There are comedy groupies.
Oh my God! When do they show up? When you finally play in a stadium? You go down to a coffee house with a fucking ukulele, okay? And somebody's blowing you. And you know what? When your fucking set's over. No. When your fucking set's over, you don't have to keep playing the ukulele. As a comedian, you're funny on stage. When you get off, you got to keep the plate spinning.
Yeah, you have to still be an entertaining person in order to be considered worthwhile. That's everyone's issue.
No. But you can be some mopey coffee house guy. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray, right? And then get off stage and just sit there with your shoulder slump, and they want to take care of you. Next thing you know, they're buying your groceries. You never heard the Guns N' Roses? They had like a whole harem of fucking chicks paying for their shit.
Why? Did those guys seem helpless in any way, shape, or form? Did Axl
borrowing
Rose
their
come
bracelets?
off? Did Axl Rose come off as helpless, as Slash helpless? Does anyone look at those guys as like, oh, they need a mommy?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm just saying though. Just don't put it out there that you're going to become a comedian. There's certain
get laid.
There's certain comics.
You have to be a good comedian. Let's put it that way.
No, but there's also like
be funny.
Yeah, Nia. Believe me. I have not had the groupies. Trust me. I have a bunch of meathead guys who come out to my show, and the occasional, psychotic woman. Okay? Lately, I've been turning the corner a little bit, but I got to tell you,
For a while there, you did have kind of the crazy chicks that were coming up to you afterward. You did have a good period of that.
Well, yeah, because I was an angry, believe it or not, people, I was actually way more angry on stage back in the day, so I think I scared a lot of them away. But no, I found
except me.
This is the deal. This is what I found with as like a fucking a male comic. Mm-hmm. If you do want to get laid after the shows, I found the comics who talk about sex a lot. And then there's the other ones who have like that slumber party energy. Mm-hmm. That, oh my God, you guys! If you have like that vibe as a straight dude, that you're pretty much in there.
Right.
You're pretty much in there. But the rest of us. Yeah. You got to kind of work. It's annoying.
Do you actually have to work at it and
Oh God, you're so arrogant. When's the last time you paid for a fucking drink? Wait, what are you coming off with this? Oh, well, do you really have to work? Yeah, Nia, I bust my fucking ass.
Excuse me? When's the last time I paid for a drink?
Yes.
Are you talking about since I've been with you? 'Cause 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, if I'm not with you and I'm out, I buy my own drinks. Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, every woman's a hero in their stories.
Your main...
You guys are all here. Oh, I pay for stuff. Oh, the lady's independent. You fucking throw your hands up. But then when the divorce happens, I'm just a girl.
I really
you know what?
hate,
You
I really
guys,
hate how you
you
talk
know
like
something?
you're some bitter divorced guy that's gone through the ringer when it hasn't even fucking happened to you.
Well, it's happened to a lot of my friends.
Yeah, and so therefore it's happened to you, right? So you're
I'm not- I
you're the
never
expert
said-
to talk
I
about
never
it,
said it
about
happened
what
to me.
people go through in divorce.
When
That's
d-
good.
When did I say that happened to me?
You act like it's happened to you, the way you talk about divorce and this and that, and how women do this and women do that, and how come they never talk about it? You never hear them talk about it.
You don't. Well, here's something for you, Nia. If I can
Here's
only
something for your ass.
if I can only talk about what I've actually done,
That would make you.
that would be like have like 8 subjects. I mean, what do? I tell fucking jokes. I go to the airport. You know. So then what? You can talk about a whole bunch of subjects that you've maybe read up on or know people who've talked about. You went off on the whole gay thing. You're not gay.
No, I'm not. But
So where do you get off telling me what subjects I can and can't talk about?
touche.
Huh?
All
That's
right.
even. A touche to a touche. We gonna end on a tie?
Let's end on a tie.
Let's end on a tie. Oh, that happy ending, everybody.
All right. Can we find it? There we go. All right. This one's titled, Oh, Jesus. I am a 23-year-old man from Paducah, Kentucky. Now, why would you tell me that? I didn't want to read that. There's probably 18 people in your town, right? Needless to say, there isn't much to do. About 5 months ago, I met a girl who was 2 years younger than me and moved into town from East Cungamunga. We hit it off almost instantly. It was great. You know what? I'm going to have somebody bleep out this city. All right? I got to have him bleep out the city and the state. He goes, we hit it off almost instantly. It was great. She is beautiful, educated, and has a great ass. Sorry. Little Al Pacino for you. We took things slow, and I found that to be something unique in today's time. Most girls give it up within a day or two, but she wanted to take things slow, and I appreciated that. I found myself falling head over heels for this girl. I hadn't been with anyone in over 2 years, and I felt as if she was a sign that maybe there was a bit of hope in this world to be happy, and she communicated with me that she felt the same way. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, we went out to a bar, and we had some drinks, played some pool, and had a great time, and ended up getting a little frisky with each other. I drove her home totally expecting that tonight would be the night I was going to bang this beautiful woman. When we reached her driveway, we started making out in the car and asked if she wanted to come in. She got real quiet and said under her breath, yes, but. And of course, I said, but what? And that's when she told me she is a transsexual. I literally yelled. I was so shocked by what I heard, I could hardly keep myself together. And I told her, him, whatever, that I wasn't going to go upstairs with her and I would call her tomorrow. And she got out of the car crying and said, I was born this way, like some Lady Gaga shit. Wait a minute, what is transsexual? Like a hermaphrodite? Wait a second. Ah, Jesus, Bill, you're too fucking dumb. Why do you guys write me? Is this the fun part of it? Just finding out how fucking dumb I am? Transsexual. This is hilarious. Now I have this on my search engine. Transsexual. And Nia will use my computer and look up like transcontinental, and transsexual is going to come up. Bill, is there something we need to talk about? Transsexual. Here we go. A person who's undergone a sex change operation. A person whose sexual identification is entirely with the opposite sex. All right, well, that just made me even more confused. So if you had an operation, how were you born this way? Or the person saying, I just identified with being a female. Oh, I see. Okay, so the dude had a sex change operation. Okay. He goes, I haven't spoke to her since. It's SINCE, not SENCE.
that night besides a few text messages. She's going on about how much she loves me and she is sorry she didn't tell me sooner. It's even gone as far as me having to turn off my phone because she won't stop calling. I've never been pursued like this before. What do I do? Part of me actually feels bad, but I can't see myself banging an ass every night while my sweaty balls slap against her sweaty balls. Now, wait a minute. I thought the person had the operation. Don't they remove that? You know, I don't fucking know. Regardless of how gay this may sound, I still think she's incredibly hot. I knew it was too good to be true. Should I tell her that I'm just not interested anymore and completely cut her off, or should I be her friend? Or should I go bang her ass? It's weird. The thought of banging her ass excites me, but the thought of her junk swinging around makes me want to throw up just thinking about it. Thanks, Bill, and come do a show in such and such state sometime, you fuck. What should you do? I don't know. I honestly don't know. What's funny is you're literally just like, you're mentally where she is sexually. You know? I don't know. Like, it's like you're standing on the state line and you got a foot in either state. Just like her. You know? So I think your emotions are normal. And I hate when fucking people get offended by this shit. And they go, that fuck are you? You know, they get all offended like that dude is now a woman. It's like, no, that is a dude that fucking is a different kind of dude now. You know, that's not a woman. It's still a dude. It's just a different kind of dude. You know what it's like? You ever see when somebody buys an old car and they take all the chrome off it? They want that nice clean look. Yeah, that's what they do to their crotch. You know, that's a dude that took the chrome off. You know, I don't know what to tell you, other than I don't know. Do like that fucking. I don't know. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Is what I would say. Let me go back and read what you said. Should I tell him I'm not interested anymore? Complete cut her off. All right. Part of me actually feels bad because I can see myself, because I can ass every night while my sweaty balls slap against her sweaty balls. Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't think the balls are there anymore. Although they might have kept them like a hood ornament. I have no idea. Ah, Jesus. I really am a moron. Regardless of how gay this may sound, I still think she's incredibly hot. You know, why don't you just split the difference and get a blowjob? I don't know what to tell you. That's so funny. I knew it was too good to be true, this poor bastard. I would say this. I'd say you'd want to sit on that decision. Don't be like the Baltimore Colts in the 1983 draft. Did you guys just watch that 30 for 30 where they immediately walked up 2 seconds in and they selected John Elway? You know, rather than fucking waiting the full 2 minutes or whatever to see if anybody gave him an offer. And then they ended up with nothing. I'd sit on this one for a minute. And I think that this person's actually pursuing you the way that they are because they're in a desperate situation. Which is, the whole thing is, in reality, the whole thing is unfortunate. You know, people should be able to be who they are. You should be able to like who you like. And that person should be able to, from day one, say that they're transsexual without getting judged. The reason why they didn't say it was because they were worried about this fucking moment here, which once again is another sad, depressing thing about humanity. I would say follow your heart, sir. You know, and not your balls if you really want to find love. There you go. Ball's in your court. No pun intended. All right. Advice for a young lady. Hey, Billington. Very, very original ones this week. People coming up with different ways to butcher my name. I'm enjoying these. I am in need of some advice for a young lady. And I love that some women are actually piping in, despite the fact how much I talk about hockey on this podcast. What are you saying? Women don't like hockey? Yes, this is what I'm saying. I'm an 18-year-old high school senior entering my freshman year of college. I got into my dream school with a scholarship. Do you know how bad I wish that I did that? Wish I studied in high school. Anyways, and I'm moving out of my shithole town, and everything finally seems to be making up for all the shit that I went through in high school. One of my really good friends is going to the same university as I am, and we're renting an apartment together. However, my friend is an 18-year-old straight guy, and I am a straight girl. Uh-oh. The gender thing could add a whole other level of difficulty on top of adjusting to living with a new person in a new city, away from everything I grew up around. We've been friends practically since we were in diapers. We can talk, jam out to 70s rock, and watch the Chappelle Show for hours, and we've never had issues with weirdness before. But I do understand that college introduces a lot of firsts, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous that having a few too many drinks during a welcome weekend could lead to some inappropriateness. Weirder things have happened. I don't want to do anything to jeopardize our nearly 2-decade-long friendship. So this kind of sounds like you're a little attracted to this guy, that if you're this worried that something's going to happen. Or maybe you're 18, you're going from your parents' house to all of a sudden living with the guy. Maybe that's what it is. I'm going to guess that that's what it is. So anyway, my question. What tips do you have to stop anyone from stepping over the line with a male/female roommate? Also, in general, what tips do you have for living with a roommate? Nia's opinion on this would be epic. Thanks, and fuck you. Yeah, that was Nia's great fuck you last week. You know what? Maybe this Wednesday we'll do another Nia log, and I'll read this one. But right now, I'll just give you my own ignorant thought on it. Oh, wait. By the way, there's a P.S. to this, everybody. There's an epilogue, just like the streets of San Francisco. P.S. Might I add that we've both been in various relationships while friends. He often asks me for girl advice, and I ask him for guy advice. He currently has a girlfriend who I really like and am friends with, but they are breaking up in June when she leaves to study abroad. I am currently single. Oh, yeah, you guys are going to bang within fucking 8 minutes. Within 8 minutes of your college career. All right, so basically what you want to do, you're not asking me should you or should you not move in with this guy. You're going to move in with this guy. So what you're really saying is basically, how do I not fuck this guy? Well, I can only do it from the male perspective, which is what I would do is every morning before I ever even walked out into the living room was I would rub one out. Oh, God. To try to get that fucking, urge out of me. I think what you need to do is sit down and talk with the guy. And just say, listen, we have a great friendship, but I don't want to ruin this. I know we're moving in together and everything. But, obviously we're going to be in close quarters, sharing a bathroom and blah, 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 blah. You know what you have to do? You have to lay down the law. If that's what you really want to do. But if you actually like this guy, like I think you might, if you actually like him and think you could actually, did I just say that? If you like him, do you know what I mean? Do you? Oh my God, you guys, this could be the one. If you actually like this dude like that, then you should not move in with him. You should be in a separate apartment. And that way, if you start dating him, you don't immediately start by living with one another. You know?
Well, the fact that you're doing it and the fact that you're learning a new thing that's really difficult to learn, don't you think that that's good for your brain?
No, I am a big believer in constantly learning. It's why I like you as a person, because you're constantly, like, you're not the Joe I knew 3 years ago in a good way. You're like, you learn all of this. You know, when I first met you, you weren't hunting. You were into martial. That was the thing. You were two-dimensional. You were, which was amazing because everyone was just a comedian. You were this Taekwondo champion, stand-up guy, and then since then you've added all, like, the guests that you have on, and the fact that you're able to, like, talk to them and stuff is because you've continued to, it's the same thing with like a comic who writes his first hour and then just sits on it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden 2 presidents goes by and it's like, why aren't they laughing anymore? It's like, because you're just stuck in time. So I believe in that, and I also believe in playing card games and stuff is good for your mind.
Yeah.
And
any games. They say even video games. You know, people like to shit on video games, but they say video games have a positive cognitive effect on kids.
Yeah,
because you're calculating and moving. You're thinking fast.
Yeah, their hand-eye coordination is like insane.
Yeah.
I guess some of those games, if you play them, I guess, I don't know.
Well, you think about the amount of hours they're putting into their thumbs. Just how often do you really use your thumb in like detailed ways? Very rarely. But kids today, they have ridiculous thumb dexterity.
I tapped out Grand Theft Auto 3 is when I stopped, which is about 2003, 2002 or something. They were just too amazing. And I was just like, I am nowhere in my career right now. And this is just, dude, I was walking around. I was living in New York at the time, and I would stop playing the game and I would be walking down the street thinking about it. Like I'd walk into the subway, like not thinking about jokes, thinking how I could beat this next level. And I remember I played this Medal of Honor game, and they had this thing when you hit the sniper button, like the scope would go like that and X would go like that. And I played it one week so much that when I walked out on the street, I was looking at people across the street doing like that. That X was going on my face. I was just like, there's something about, like, I already... I'm not the brightest guy, when it comes to like school. So it's just like, I was like, this is doing something to my brain. So I remember I came home and I just unplugged everything, but really quickly took everything off because I knew I was never going to figure it out and I didn't have the instructions anymore. I just stuck it in the back of the closet. Like, well, that's it.
I did the same thing with video games with Quake. I had a real problem when I was playing 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day sometimes. I had a T1 line installed in my house just so I could play with a fast internet connection. This is like 1998.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, there was slow internet where I was. So I said, well, what's the options? And so one option is they chew up the street and put this crazy fat business line. Cost me a shitload of money. And I was like, let's do it. So I had installed a business line that we'd use, at the time, you'd use for a large building.
Right.
And I had it just for my house. And I would play video games online all the time. And
you could play online against people for the last 20 years?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
We'd play online teams. We'd have teams of guys, like me and 3 of my friends would play against 4 other guys, and we'd like meet at a certain server, and you could chat and talk to each other. All right, you ready to go? All right, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. And then the game will start, and then we'd have these matches, and it was fun, man. It was really fun. It was really exciting too because it's all happening in real time.
Yeah.
But I reached a point somewhere around like the year 2000 where I know one day I played until it was sunlight, until the sun came up, and I'm 30 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, my hands are sweating, I'm all caffeinated up, I've been drinking Mountain Dew for the past 8 hours, and I realized, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is, I'm not where I want to be as a comic. I'm not where I want to be with my life. And I'm just sitting here playing video games all the time, and there's no future in this. I've been stuck in things where there's no future before. I know what that is. I felt like that with fighting. I was when I was 21, there was a point in time where I was like, there's no future in this. Like, I'm just going to keep getting hit in the head, and I'm going to get dumber and more brain damage and more crazy. Right. And I'm like, this is dangerous. And I realized I got to stop. I got to stop. There's no future in this. There was no money in fighting back then either. And then I got there with pool. Same thing with pool. Like, my manager called me up, and he said, I think you play pool too much. He's like, I think he's like, I think that you seriously think about pool more than you do your career. And I respect him, and he's a very good friend of mine. So I had to really pause. I didn't take it lightly. I had to take a deep breath, and I was like, he's right. He's right. I play pool all the time. I was playing every day. I have a real addictive personality.
I do too. So I get like how many hours I want to get flying, and then like things I want to learn playing drums and stuff, and then it becomes I've had to learn to be like, Bill, these are hobbies.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
You're a dad first, then you're a comedian.
Yep.
Let's sort of prioritize. Like, the world isn't waiting for you to know how to play good times, bad times.
Yeah,
that can sit back a little bit.
But the fact that you're doing that kind of stuff, I think, is great. I really identify with you in a lot of ways. The way you do that, where you get crazy about drums, or you get crazy about
cooking,
helicopter,
everything. I go down like I got to learn all about like.